Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Colorado Rockies series here on Out of the Park Baseball 22. It is Thursday, July 11th, 2024. Your Rockies above 500, coming off of a big win against the Chicago Cubs, 12-3. We are 44 and 42. If you take a look at the bottom left here, we are 7.5 back in the National League West and just 3.5 back. We're chasing the Marlins and the Padres and the Nationals, I guess you could throw in there too, in the National League wildcard race. Before we go any further, I would like to say that this video is brought to you by the upcoming Soundtown Music Festival. Do you like live music? Do you like cool bands and artists like this one, this one, this one, maybe even some of these ones? Then be sure to tune into the first ever Soundtown Music Festival, taking place on Saturday, May 1st and Sunday, May 2nd. This online event will bring all of your favorite bands and artists together for a great cause as we raise money for the Chuck and Tina Pagano Cancer Research Fund and Indiana University Melvin and Bren Simon Comprehensive Cancer Center. That's the Soundtown Music Festival, May 1st and May 2nd, streaming live on bestavailableplayer.com. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I really hope that y'all check that out. All those bands are going to be really talented. I'm really excited to see it unfold. I'm really looking forward to it. That's next weekend once again, May 1st and May 2nd. So mark your calendars. If you miss it, you will be able to watch it later on demand. So if you can watch it live, cool. If not, that's all right too. You can always catch it later. And we're trying to raise money for a great cause, which is always a good thing. But it is Thursday, July 11th, and I wanted to start here in the manager's office screen because I do have some news to announce with your Colorado Rockies. We made a big trade while I simulated up here. It is the first-year player draft. I did want to simulate up to this point. And we made a big trade to try to make this team the best that it can be. We are kind of in win-now mode. I want to make the playoffs this year, and I think we have the chance to do that. So I made a big trade with the Houston Astros. In that trade, we did acquire Alex Bregman and Josh James, and in return, we sent them Rhys Hoskins, Mike Clevenger, Brandon Clark, who was the number 38 prospect in all of baseball, I think our organizational number 2 prospect, Joseph Califoot, and Ethan Patera, who was our, I think, 4th-round pick in 2022. That was a guy with like the high work ethic, the high intelligence. The big piece in this was Alex Bregman, and I've now transitioned him to being a first baseman. He's 6 feet tall, he's good in the field, so I think he could play first base. You can see that since we've gotten Alex Bregman, he has done extremely well in the 7 games that he's played, 5 games start. He's dealing with a little knee injury. It's okay, nothing too major. You can see that in his time here, he has OPS at 1.271. He is just tearing the cover off the ball so far, which is good to see. This is just a rental. He is only signed through 2024, and then he will become a free agent at age 30. But I want to win now. I want to make the playoffs, and this was the best guy on the trade market to do it. So that's why we picked up Alex Bregman. We also got Josh James, who is an extreme ground ball power pitcher. That seems to be always what I look for when it comes to pitchers. You can see his first start with us was July 4th. He had a good start there at Arizona. 6 1/3 innings pitched, 6 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts. His most recent start against the Cubs, he only went 5 innings, allowed 5 earned runs, 2 of those, or 2 home runs, I should say, 2 strikeouts and 3 walks, 7 hits. So he's had 1 good start and 1 not so good start. But I'm hoping he is kind of signed to a pretty reasonable deal, much more reasonable than Clevenger's was. He's signed for the next 2 seasons at $9.8 million a year, which I think is fair if he can pitch. He doesn't even have to do what he did on July 4th. Just a little better would be great. We did trade Rhys Hoskins. I was wrong. I did say, listen, I'm not right about everything. I've been wrong about a lot when it comes to out-of-the-park baseball, and I was wrong about Rhys Hoskins. I was really hoping that he could get back to what he did in 2021 when he had a 139 WRC+. He was a 4-win player. He had 32 home runs, 95 runs batted in, a 15.6% walk rate, a 24.5% strikeout rate. It just didn't happen. Unfortunately, what happened in 2022, that was the sign that he was starting to decline a little bit. Which is unfortunate. I really wanted him to work out here in Colorado, but you can see it just didn't work out. And with the contract that he had, I wanted to get off of it as soon as I possibly could because it is kind of an albatross with him performing the way that he is. 2 more years at $10 million. He was not giving us $10 million a season worth of performance. He was a negative value player this year. So I wanted to try to get rid of him. It wasn't going to be easy because GMs kind of see him as a vastly overpaid veteran. He's one of those guys, so I had to find the right package, and this seemed like the best one, even if it is just for a rental in Bregman. And solid, not overly great pitcher in Josh James. Mike Clevenger, that was a little more difficult to pull the trigger on. You can see that he had a 4.41 FIP for us this year, a 5.73 ERA. This was just another contract that I was a little worried about. It was only, in fairness, we only had it for one more year, but the fragile injury proneness for a pitcher always just scares the heck out of me, especially, I mean, you can see the time that we've had him, he's gotten injured 4 times, in the time that we've had him as a member of the Colorado Rockies, or we did have him. So it didn't seem like it was working out well in Colorado. I mean, he was solid in 2023, a 3.57 FIP, 161 strikeouts to 67 walks, but it just wasn't working out this year. Batters are OPSing over 800 off of him. His strikeout percentage dropped. His walk percentage dropped, which was a positive, but it just wasn't working out. So I wanted to get off of him, and hopefully he'll do better in a more neutral pitching environment. Hopefully he'll be able to play his value back up. The biggest piece we had to give away, which I was hoping I wouldn't have to, but I always say you got to give something to get something. We did give up Brandon Clark, who I really liked a lot. This was, I think, our second-round pick in our first ever draft. Our second-round pick in the 2021 first-year player draft. He was a 2-time All-Star prospect selection in 2022 and 2023. He had a no-hitter in 2023 as well. It was difficult to get off of his deal, but just get rid of him. But I do see he is an extreme fly ball pitcher, which kind of scared me a little bit. He was having a pretty solid season in AA for Hartford, a 4.34 ERA and similar FIP, 62 strikeouts to 28 walks. It seemed like this was probably a good time to get rid of him, to put him in this kind of package. I really don't think he is extreme fly ball. I really don't think he would have worked out in Colorado, especially if the control never came around. If the control doesn't come around, he definitely would not have worked as a Colorado Rocky. And then the other 2 guys were traded. Joseph Califoot, they have him as a pitcher. We had him as a first baseman. I don't think he's really going to work as a pitcher. I don't know what Houston's doing. He sits 86 to 88. I can't imagine that's going to be a good use of his talents. We had him as a batter. You see, he was a first baseman that was more known for his gap power and his eye at the plate. He had 116 WRC plus this season at AA Hartford. So we threw him in there, and then we just need to throw one more prospect in there, and it was Ethan Patera. As I said, the guy that had high loyalty, work ethic, intelligence, greed, or low greed. He had a 5.29 ERA, a 5.39 FIP. If they wanted me to throw him in there, if they see something that they like in him, I'm not going to stop it from letting me get Bregman and James. So that's the trade that we made. We made that on July 4th, and you can see since we made that trade, we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 2. We've actually been on a good run of late. Going back to this series against the Oakland Athletics, you can see that we won 2 out of 3 there, so that's 2-1, 3-1, 4-1, 5-1, 6-1, 7-1, 7-2, 8-2, 8-3. We've been 9-3 in our past 12 games. Really, outside of that 6-18 skid we had there at the start of the season, we haven't been that bad. Of course, we finished out May 14-13. We went 14-12 in June, and right now in July, it seems like we're really coming into our own. We're 7-2 right now, and I already said that we're only 7.5 back in the NL West, but we're not going to catch the Dodgers. Our focus right now is just the wild card race, and we can definitely get there. So that was that. We did make another trade. We did trade for, this was much smaller. We made a trade for Kyle Finnegan, where we traded them minor league depth second baseman, and I traded for him because we needed an extreme ground ball pitcher in the bullpen. I forget. I replaced who did I replace? Lucas Gilbreth. He was not doing very well at all, so we sent him down to AAA. And even though Finnegan's not a lefty to replace him, I thought maybe with the extreme ground ball power pitcher type, he could be a little better than what Gilbreth was giving us. And he was doing pretty good there for a while. You can see now he's starting to get lit up a little bit, but his FIP is still 2.54, which is encouraging. So those were the 2 moves that I made. In terms of just lineup kind of stuff, I did. There's a comment I'm going to get into in a second, but I've been kind of moving the lineup around a little bit. So at one point, Tapia was in the leadoff spot, and Mondesi got moved down. Now it's kind of different. We do have 3 lefties here to end the order. I mean, it's not super great, but that'll make do. We did put Drew Romo on the bench. We are giving Nunez a shot to be our starting catcher, and he has done pretty well in that role. His OPS has come down a little bit. It was over 900. I think it was in the 950s, but still, for a catcher, he hits pretty well, and it seems like it's not really affecting the pitchers too much, the 55 grade ability. So we're going to keep him in there as long as he's hot, as long as he's hitting the ball like he is. And as soon as he stops, as soon as he kind of drops back down to earth, we'll probably give Romo the job back. Ohtani has struggled a little bit as a hitter. I say a little bit. He's OPSing under 700. So we're kind of giving Willie Calhoun some more starts at DH. We're getting him in the lineup a little more and giving Ohtani a little more rest. We're seeing if that will help a little bit. We'll get into the stats in a second. Let's go through the comments. So we did get some comments here from the assistant GMs of the YouTube community. Your manager is killing you with Mondesi and leadoff spot on top. You had 7. Probably could have got a few more wins with better lineup construction. Well, the manager took that into consideration, and we have adjusted the lineup more frequently, and I think it's helped. I don't know. We are over 500, so the last time we talked, we were, 3 games under 500, now we're 2 games over. So looking at the lineup a little more frequently, I think has helped a little bit. I love the series and have learned quite a bit about OOTP. I'm curious, since you do a pretty good deep dive, if you've ever looked at the home road splits, a Coors myth or fact. In my current Rockies, as of June 14th, home and road records 20-14, 8-24. Same offensively and pitching. Hitters better at home, pitchers better on the road. That is something that does happen. I think so. If we go to like OPS and we do our split from home, I think Madrigal and Devers are a good example. You see Madrigal at home, he has an OPS of 1.193. Devers has an OPS of 1.110. If we go to their splits on the road, Madrigal, his OPS is still 834 OPS. I say it's only an 834 OPS. It's still pretty good, but there's a massive drop off. Devers is an even better example. You can see that his OPS on the road drops all the way down to .733. And the same thing goes for pitchers. I think a really good example, actually, let me go back here for a second and make sure we don't have a split. I think a really good example for pitching is Clark Schmidt. You can see at home when he pitches at Coors, Clark Schmidt has a 7.15 ERA, but when he pitches on the road, it goes down to 3.29. So those splits definitely do exist. The hitters will obviously perform better at Coors, and a lot of them are going to experience a drop-off when they go on the road. The pitchers, for the most part, will struggle, and then they will do better once they go to more neutral parks. So that is something that definitely exists, those splits. Missed opportunity to say a rocky start. My last episode, I titled it an uneven start, and I agree with Sam here. I should have named it Rocky Start. I might never have that opportunity again. I hope I don't. I would definitely test how Nunez performs as a starting catcher while not playing as good a defense as Romo. I don't think it would be a bad idea to see if his batting can become more important than the defense, especially because Romo is the only guy in the starting lineup with a -4, and that is what we've done. Nunez right now, he's been a 1-win catcher. He's been very good offensively, and as I said, I don't think it's affecting the pitchers too much, so we're going to keep running with it. And I have hope. There we go. There's our 2024 Rockies campaign slogan, I have hope. Hopefully it does end in a playoff berth for the first time in this series. It is the first-year player draft. I'm going to go get some players. I'll tell you guys who I picked. And then I'll come back. I don't really know if the biggest trade that I did was the Bregman thing. Like, that was kind of our big deal, and we did it before the deadline, like well before the deadline on July 4th. So I don't think I'm going to make any more trades. Maybe I'll trade for a bullpen piece. It's you can never have too many bullpen arms. Other than that, I think we're pretty much set. I mean, we have basically all of our lineup positions solidified. Like, we don't need a shortstop, second base, third base. We don't need an outfielder. We don't need a first baseman now. We don't. We could always try to look for a big DH type and let Ohtani kind of focus on pitching. But I mean, Ohtani, I think he's been kind of better recently with the bat. Now, if we go to the game logs, like, it seems like he's kind of starting to see the ball a little better over the past several times he's been batting. I don't know. That's something that we can worry about closer to the deadline. We'll see if there's anything. We don't have a lot of money as it is. We only have $1.6 million. So if we're going to make a trade, we would have to send salary out to begin with. And there's not really anybody here that I would want to get rid of their salary. Like, we're not going to get rid of Devers, Mondesi, Ohtani. We're not going to get rid of Robles, and then all these other guys are not really making anything. And I remember I said that last time. There was one other time that I said, we're not going to get rid of this guy, and then we did. We're really not going to get rid of any of these guys. I did offer a contract extension to Nick Madrigal to buy out a couple of his arbitration years for a little cheaper, and then get him. I think I gave him a 5-year extension offer. So hopefully by the time I come back, I might see him in a couple of days just to see if he accepts. But just keep that in the back of your minds that contract extension is out there. So I'm going to jump into the first-year player draft. We do have the 5th overall pick. So we'll see if we actually, because we do have the 5th overall pick, I'll just do this right now. So we'll do all players. We'll see who's there. So we have some relief pitchers up at the top here. That's not a good use of our pick. In fact, all these guys are relief pitchers. Do any of these guys have like stamina? So some of them do, but some of them only have 2 pitches. Yeah, so these guys. I always kind of like to see maybe if I can finagle one of these guys to transition into a starter. So this is a guy maybe that we could make a starter, but normally when they have control or any rating really, if it starts out at 25, in my experiences, it's pretty rare for them to really hit their full potential in that category or that rating. It doesn't seem like he's really the best teammate to begin with, so we're not going to go with Skylar Townsend. We'll see who else we got here. We're all looking at all players, So I think this is the guy we're going to go with. None of the pitchers really stood out to me. They all had their own flaws. So I think we're going to go with a bat here in the first round, a high school bat. Derek Curiel, something. I don't know. You can see that he's very good defensively, which is good. It is a little difficult to find guys that are this good defensively that also have some type of offensive profile to them. And this guy seems like he could be pretty solid offensively. He's done well in high school, but he has speed. If he fills out, he doesn't even have to be a power hit. If he can just fill out these other 4 categories, like that would be great. So we're gonna draft Derek Curiel here with our first round pick. We're gonna draft the player, and that is our 5th overall pick here in the 2024 first year player draft. So I will sim ahead to the end, as I always do. I'll show you guys who I got in the 2nd through 10th rounds, and we'll go from there. All right, we just finished up the draft here. It was at least in my opinion and in my scouts' opinion, it was a pretty weak class. We didn't really have a lot of options, but in the 2nd round, I went with this potential 80 grade relief pitcher. I did the same. We didn't have a 3rd round pick, but I went with relief pitchers and back-to-back draft picks. I think this will probably be a good way for us to get cheap relief pitching. That way we don't have to keep trading for it or signing it. So I think that'll be a good thing for us for the system. Both of them are righties. Neither of them are lefties, unfortunately. In the 4th round, we drafted another guy who's really good defensively in center field. He doesn't really have a great offensive profile, but he has a impossible sign ability. Oops. I should have probably looked a little. I could have sworn it did not say impossible. Well, I guess we're not getting him. So for those of you guys that are new to the series, you might see it say impossible. It doesn't mean you can't sign them. It just means that you have to give them a really outrageous amount of money to get them to sign on to your team, and you only really have one chance to give them an offer. So it means they want more than you should be willing to pay them more often than not. Sometimes there's some impossible players that it might be worth it to take a chance, especially if you're a rebuilding team. But for the most part, that's what impossible means. We got another relief pitcher in the 6th round in Chris Dunn. I don't think he'll be as good as the other 2, but he is a power pitcher, so I wanted to get him into the system. We drafted this guy in the 7th round just because of his name, Eperema Wakanatoga. So I hope he makes the major leagues just so I have to say that every single time I update you guys on how the things are going. But that was our guy that we picked in the 7th round. 8th round, we picked this first baseman with some power, Elbert Craig. In the 9th round, we picked Andre Madungo. And part of the reason I did that is because he was from a school that I recognized, Don Bosco Prep in Ramsey, New Jersey. It doesn't seem like his contact grade will ever be super great, but he has some other good qualities. He has a really good arm, so he would be able to stick at 3rd base. And then 10th round, we got this catcher from Oklahoma State University who had 80 grade catcher ability, so I had to get him. We'll see if maybe he works out enough. But I don't know. That's as I said, the draft class wasn't super impressive. I think it's probably been one of the weaker ones so far in this save. So we'll see if any of those guys pan out. We'll negotiate with them. So we'll just do this here real quick. So Curiel wants a little more than the slot. That's fine. We'll give him that. And the other guys, my second round pick wants under slot, which is good. We'll get Campbell going here as our fourth round pick. We're not going to give any money to Tatum Marsh, so that was a mistake on my part. I did not think that's that impossible, but maybe I was looking at the wrong guy. And then he wants 490,000. That name is worth 490,000. So I just want to show you, if I do click negotiate on an impossible guy, it says that he has the intention of going to college unless you meet his demand. But it says here he would need a bonus significantly above $8 million to consider signing. So that's why a lot of these impossible guys, it's not worth it. As I said, sometimes you'll find someone where if you have the money, it might be worth it, but for the most part, it's not. So what we're going to simulate ahead here. I guess it might be a good time, actually, because I said I was going to do that in this episode, show you guys how the prospects are doing. So in terms of the top prospects that we inherited when we started this save, we only have 5 left. Out of the, what did I make, like 10, 12, 13 maybe names. Tony Losi is in AA right now for the 3rd year in a row because he couldn't really solve it the first 2. He's doing better this year, which is nice. So maybe finally at 25 we can promote him to AAA pretty soon. We did send Gilbreth down to AAA. He's made 6 appearances, 4.26 ERA, FIP close to or over 9. So hopefully he can kind of figure things out, because I thought he could be a pretty solid lefty option first in the bullpen. He was last year. He just couldn't do it again this year. Jake Summers right now. Oh, who was this? Oh, okay. Yeah, well, that's right. We traded him away. So let's just get him off of the short list. I was wondering why I would have had a 27-year-old in high A. So we're going to remove him from all short lists. We got Drew Romo. We know what his deal is this year. He's not done as well as I was hoping for. Mateo Gil, right now, he is in AA for the 2nd year. Not doing he's doing about the same. So I don't really think he's ever going to be a contributor at the major league level. In terms of the 2021 draft, got Leiter, who is up in the major leagues. Brandon Smith right now is at Fresno. He's at A-level ball, and it seems like he's doing pretty well. I'd like him to pitch a little bit more, but I guess we can probably call him up to AA to see if he can do that. He's a fly ball pitcher with 25 grade control who sits 88 to 90, so I'm not really expecting too much. We traded away Brandon Clark, who is Houston has him on the major league roster, which is, I didn't realize that. Okay, we'll see how that goes. We'll remove him for all short lists. Thank you for your time. Califoot, we are going to remove him as well. Thank you for your time here in the organization. So Brandon Birdsell right now is at AA Hartford, and he is getting rocked. So I don't think it's going to work out for him, unfortunately. Daniel Dewey right now is at Fresno. Right now he's still at A-ball. He still has not been able to figure that out, so I don't think Dewey's ever going to turn into anything. Jack Leftwich is in AA, and he is nothing really to write home about. Tony Bullard, who is a 3rd baseman, he's doing pretty well in AA. Here's a little nice success story. He's doing pretty well. We'd like him to get some more at bats before we call him up to AAA, but he's only 24, so he might be a good bench bat for us at some point, it seems like, which is nice. 2022 draft, of course, the big name Rogelio Delgado. He has kind of struggled a little bit. It seems like he's doing a little better recently. He's not getting really deep into games. It seems like walks have kind of been a bit of an issue, but he's still the number 2 prospect in Major League Baseball. I'm still confident in him long term. I think that there's a possibility maybe he's up with us at the end of this season, definitely sometime in 2025. So I'm happy that I got him going here. 36 strikeouts and 35 walks is not good. We traded away Patera, so let's remove him from the short list here. Alaska Abney ruptured a tendon in his finger. Yikes, that's a shame. Riley Stanford he's doing all right. An 807 OPS at A-ball. He's been a .2 win player. I'd like to see a little more, so he's probably not going to turn into much, but I've been wrong before. Ben Everett is not hitting the ball very well. He's been a negative value player, which is unfortunate. This is our guy that we got, our international signee. He's only 18 years old, so it's still a little too early. It seems like he's developing well. He has an 823 OPS right now in rookie ball, so we're still ways away from seeing what he can do. And then Jimmy Dreher has not hit the ball well at all this year. He has the same exact OPS as last year, 652. And then 2023, Jackson Arnold, shoulder information for a day. He still wasn't doing very well in AA so far this year. Brandon Sproat, his seems like he's developing well. His ERA and his FIP look pretty good, so this guy could maybe turn out to be something. This was our first round pick, so hopefully he turns out pretty well. We could probably get him up to AAA at some point this season, maybe next season. He's only 23. Silas Arduin, we'll see. He is not hitting the ball well at all. A negative value player. Kemp Alderman, elbow inflammation. He was not hitting the ball well to begin with. Daniel Cuvée, he's dealing with the day-to-day injury. It seems like he was doing well prior, although he is only in rookie ball. He's only 19 years old. Drew Bowser, so far this year, has struggled. Luke Boyers has struggled to hit the ball. Braden Sharp is 769 OPS, 116 WRC plus. He's been close to a 2-win player, so maybe he turns out to be a good bench bat for us. And Noah Williamson has not really played enough to make a determination. So that's your prospect update. We're going to sum up here. We'll go close to the deadline. We'll see if we want to do anything. As I said, there's not really much we can do. So I don't know. We'll just stop there. We got the All-Star break coming up. We have some games against the Padres, which should be huge. So we'll get up to the All-Star break. We'll go to the deadline, and yeah. All right, so the All-Star teams were announced. I guess I could have just simulated that on the screen, but we did get Magical to his contract extension, so we signed him to a 5-year deal, $12 million next season, then $15 million, $18 million, $18 million, $20 million. So now we don't have to worry about him going anywhere. He has been very, very good, much better than I could have ever expected. He's OPSing close to 1,000. He's already been close to a 5-win player this year, which is really, really good. So I'm very excited that I have him, and now he's locked in for a while. So the All-Star game rosters have been announced. Let's see if we got anybody here. And we got Nick Magical, we got Rafael Devers, and we got Victor Robles. So 3 of our big trade acquisitions over the past, year, really, have turned out to be good ones offensively. Pitching, we didn't get anybody. That's not really too surprising. See, Whit Merrifield there is having a good year with the Chicago Cubs, so I'm glad he found somewhere that he can be successful. Do I see any other former Colorado Rockies here? Any former pitchers, maybe? Nope, unless I missed them, but nope. So there's your National League roster, and here's your American League roster in the year 2024. We'll see if we notice any names here in the American League. Not seeing Vince Velasquez always does incredible in out of the park baseball games. I don't understand it, but I'm not seeing any former players here yet. No, okay, nope. So there are your All-Star rosters. Your prospect game rosters are right here. So here's your American League prospect All-Star game roster, and in the National League we got Rogelio Delgado, which I guess should not be too surprising. He's the number 2 prospect in baseball, and that was the only guy that we got. So there we go. Now I'm going to simulate up to the deadline. We just lost 2 or 3 to the Mets, so now we're 45 and 44, 3 games back in the NL wildcard race. All right, it is July 30th. Your Rockies 47 to 52. We had a bad stretch of games coming out of the All-Star break. We lost our first 7 games coming out of the All-Star break. We got swept by the Cubs, swept in a 4-game series against the Padres, which really, really hurt. We just won 2 out of 3 against the Pirates. That doesn't really mean anything. We're only 5 games out in the wildcard race, but that was really a great opportunity for us to gain some ground. We're definitely out of the division race. As I said, I didn't really think we were going to catch the Dodgers, but now we're really out of it. So now 47 and 52. Our owner wanted us to play 500 ball, and we're a little under that right now. So that is unfortunate. I will stop the thing here, there's not really any trades that we can make, but I don't want this video to go too long. I really don't think it's possible for us to make a trade to make this team better. How's DeGrom doing this year? The Yankees want to trade him. He has done bad in 2 starts. So I guess it's a good thing we got off of that. So that is unfortunate. I really wanted us to come out of the All-Star break looking really good, and we just didn't. So that'll be that. Maybe we can try to trade for a relief pitcher somehow, because Conine has not looked good recently. So maybe that's what we'll do. Next episode, maybe we try to trade for a relief pitcher. Maybe a couple relief pitchers, get Diekman out of there. Maybe it would be good. His FIP is good. I don't know. I need y'all to send me the good vibes, and hopefully this team gets it together, because this is a little upsetting. I thought that we would come out of the All-Star break a little with some momentum, with an edge, and it hasn't really happened. And now we are 10-12 in July. So I want to thank y'all for watching this video. I'll catch y'all guys again in the next episode. I guess that'll be episode 18. Thank you for all the support. Thanks for watching as always. I'll catch you guys again next time. Enjoy the rest of your day.